On December 4th, 2016, Teresa Keel, a 54-year-old woman, entered a restaurant in Long Beach, New York. It was shortly before 7:30 p.m., and she had plans to meet someone for dinner. From Teresa's perspective, the evening began like any other. Little did she know, however, that she was about to become entangled in a sadistic and horrifying scheme. Unbeknownst to her, these seemingly harmless video clips would later be recognized as some of the last moments ever captured of her. Teresa Keel was widely known for her unwavering dedication to children. She cherished her son and daughter above all else, and was passionate about molding young minds as an educator. Originally named Teresa Ann Albano, she grew up in Queens, New York. After completing her education, she relocated to Nassau County, where she secured a position with the Malvern School District. For the next 3 decades, she worked tirelessly as both a teacher and a principal. During this time, Teresa married a well-known dentist named Keel, whose first name remains unknown in the reports we discovered. However, based on our research into historical dental practices in the area, we believe his name was David. Together, Teresa and David built a fulfilling life, blessed with successful careers and a happy family. Unfortunately, their world was shattered in 2004 when David tragically passed away. This devastating loss was particularly difficult for their children, Vincent and Francesca, who were still young at the time, with Vincent being 13 and Francesca being only 7 years old. Despite the immense tragedy, Teresa remained strong and held her family together. She ensured that she was always present for her children and reportedly emerged as a strong single mother. Simultaneously, she continued to excel at work and was well received wherever she taught. According to multiple colleagues, regardless of her location, she was the teacher all students wished to have. Despite her busy schedule, Teresa managed to further her education. Reports indicate that she completed her doctorate while still working and initiated a local tutoring program to enhance education accessibility for the homeless. Just as she nurtured her passion for teaching, Teresa motivated her children to pursue their own interests. Vincent excelled in tennis after being athletic, reaching tournament levels before transitioning to software development, particularly in mobile app creation. Similarly, Francesca displayed academic prowess and, with her mother's support, enrolled in community college after graduating high school in 2015. As both her children transitioned into adulthood, Teresa began contemplating the next phase of her life. Unfortunately, she was unaware that any plans she had for the future were about to be cruelly disrupted. On December 4th, 2016, around 10:30 p.m., Long Beach resident Franklin Kuzma was concluding his workout. While resting near an access ramp on New York Avenue after running along the city's popular 2-mile oceanfront boardwalk, he noticed a woman walking into a small block of apartments across the street. As she entered a partially covered foyer through a doorway, an unknown individual suddenly ran up behind her and followed her inside, leading to chilling screams moments later. To his dismay, Franklin quickly grasped the unfolding situation. The woman he had just witnessed was under attack. Acting on instinct, he sprinted towards the building. Through the glass block wall at the entrance, he could see the unfolding violence. The assailant had brandished a large object and was repeatedly striking the woman in the head. Franklin entered the foyer and followed the sounds. However, he was spotted by the attacker as he approached. The assailant immediately ceased the assault and fled, escaping onto the street through a different exit of the complex. Prioritizing the victim, Franklin rushed to where she lay on the ground, severely injured and unresponsive. By this time, bystanders had gathered, realizing the gravity of the situation. Franklin ensured the victim was not alone, and help was on the way before resuming his pursuit. Despite the attacker's head start of 15 to 20 seconds, Franklin hoped to catch up. Luck seemed to be on his side when he spotted the assailant further down the road, sprinting away. Closing the distance, Franklin noticed the attacker glancing back multiple times. The chase persisted until the assailant abruptly turned into an alleyway. Franklin hesitated upon realizing the darkness of the alley, fearing it might be a trap. Despite his apprehension, he pressed on cautiously, keeping his hands up to defend against a potential attack. Surprisingly, he traversed the alley unscathed. However, his relief turned to frustration as he realized the attacker had used the opportunity to escape. Upon returning to the crime scene, Franklin made his way through a chaotic scene filled with firefighters, paramedics, and police. It was here that he would eventually discover the identity of the victim. The residents of the apartment building identified her as Teresa Keel, their 54-year-old neighbor. The severity of her injuries became evident as Franklin observed the extensive blunt force wounds on her head and face. Despite her critical condition, she clung to life by a thread. As Teresa was swiftly transported to a nearby hospital, authorities began their quest to unravel the mysteries surrounding the crime. Who could have committed such a heinous act against Teresa, and what could have been the motive? Franklin, upon his return to the crime scene, cooperated fully with the police, recounting every detail he could recall from the attack. He informed them that Teresa had been entering her apartment complex alone at approximately 10:30 p.m. before she was followed inside and ambushed. According to Franklin, the suspect stood at an imposing height of around 6 feet 3 or 6 feet 4 inches tall and concealed their identity with a hoodie, winter hat, and face covering. Judging by the suspect's stature and muscular build, Franklin believed the perpetrator to be a man. Unfortunately, due to the suspect's attire, Franklin never caught a glimpse of their face. However, he guided investigators to the exact location where he had pursued the assailant. Armed with this valuable information, law enforcement dispatched canine units to scour the surrounding area, hoping to pick up the trail where Franklin had left off. Simultaneously, forensic technicians and detectives meticulously examined the site of Teresa's attack. What they discovered painted a chilling picture. Among the pool of blood where the 54-year-old had been found, personal belongings lay scattered. Her purse, wallet, and remnants of food, including napkins and disposable utensils, were strewn about, indicating they had been inside a brown takeout bag she carried. Additionally, a noticeable chunk was missing from the nearby wall, further adding to the disturbing nature of the crime scene. Eerily, the object used to strike her was of significant size and weight, leaving a deep indentation in the stone-like material when the assailant missed. Taking all of these factors into account, investigators swiftly concluded that the crime was not a random act. The absence of any missing items from Teresa's purse or wallet ruled out robbery as a motive. Instead, authorities focused on the sheer brutality of the assault and its personal nature. As detectives continued to process the crime scene and piece together the evidence, they received an update from the search team who had been attempting to track down the suspect. Unfortunately, they were unable to locate him again, confirming his successful escape. While this was undoubtedly frustrating, there was a silver lining for the investigators. Thanks to Franklin's assistance, they had some knowledge of the suspect's route and began gathering any available surveillance footage from the vicinity. Although the quality of the footage was not ideal, with one camera even capturing grainy images due to a faulty LED light, it still provided valuable information. Firstly, the videos corroborated Franklin's account of the pursuit and the description he had provided of the suspect. Additionally, the footage revealed that the suspect had been carrying a duffel bag while fleeing. The police speculated that the bag may have contained a change of clothes, suggesting premeditation in the crime. Most importantly, the videos provided authorities with leads on where to search for further evidence. This ultimately led to a significant breakthrough when they discovered a dumbbell bar discarded on top of a container in an alleyway with visible bloodstains. The bar was promptly sent for testing, marking a crucial piece of evidence in the investigation. Based on its dimensions and mass, law enforcement officers were nearly certain that it was the weapon utilized in the assault on Teresa. Armed with this crucial information, detectives from Long Beach made their way to North Shore Manhasset Hospital, where Teresa had been transported following the vicious attack. Upon arrival, they received a solemn update on her condition. The 54-year-old had suffered severe fractures to the right side of her skull, resulting in devastating injuries. Along with the loss of an eye, she had sustained brain damage and was now in a vegetative state. The outcome of her situation remained uncertain. By Teresa's bedside stood her brother Michael and her son, Vincent. The 24-year-old had hurried to the hospital after arriving at the crime scene just minutes after the assault took place. Vincent recounted that he had gone out for dinner with his mother earlier that evening. At the time, everything appeared normal, and after their meal, they went their separate ways. Vincent had been away for a short while when he received a distressing call from a neighbor at their apartment complex, informing him of the terrible incident. As Vincent concluded his explanation of events, investigators inquired about his sister, Francesca. Vincent revealed that he had been attempting to reach her, but had been unsuccessful thus far. He added that he wasn't particularly surprised by her lack of response. Intrigued, the detectives probed further, asking him to elaborate. What Vincent disclosed next certainly captured their attention. He explained that earlier in the year, Francesca had a significant falling out with both him and their mother. The primary cause of the rift was her relationship with her 26-year-old boyfriend, Ralph Kepler, who had once been a close friend of Vincent's. Ralph worked as a corrections officer in New York City, but shared Vincent's entrepreneurial spirit and passion for business. In fact, when he learned that Vincent was developing a dating app targeting college students, he expressed a desire to be involved in the project. Soon, Ralph and his family invested approximately $130,000 into the business venture, and initially, things were going smoothly. However, this favorable situation did not last. Unbeknownst to Vincent, who was solely focused on the app, Ralph began dating Francesca. For a while, they managed to keep their relationship a secret, but eventually, the truth came out. As soon as Vincent and Teresa discovered the situation, they strongly disapproved of the relationship. Teresa, in particular, voiced her objections, arguing that Francesca was barely out of high school and had no business being involved with someone over 7 years older than her. Despite this, Francesca remained steadfast in her love for Ralph and supported him unconditionally. According to Vincent, the more time Francesca spent with Ralph, the more distant she became from him and their mother. The situation reached its breaking point about 10 months ago when Francesca left home and moved in with Ralph at his grandfather's residence in the village of Lynbrook, just a 20-minute drive away. From that point on, she severed ties with the family. Although Vincent believed that Francesca was not capable of harming their mother, detectives decided to visit her and Ralph to gather more information. At the very least, they assumed the 19-year-old would want to be informed about the ongoing investigation. By the time the police arrived in Lynbrook, approximately 3 hours had passed since the attack occurred. Surprisingly, both Francesca and Ralph were present at home and appeared genuinely surprised by the detectives' arrival. The investigators requested permission to enter the house and conduct interviews, to which Francesca and Ralph agreed. After separating them for individual questioning in different areas of the house, the detectives introduced themselves and explained the purpose of their visit. Subsequently, they inquired about the couple's whereabouts on the night of the attack and their activities at the time Teresa was assaulted. Ralph stated that they had spent the entire evening at home, wrapping Christmas presents and watching football. He claimed that prior to that, the last instance he left the residence was approximately 11 a.m. on that specific day when he ventured out to purchase a lottery ticket for his grandfather. During her conversation with investigators, Francesca provided similar details. However, she was able to provide a more verifiable alibi. She proceeded to present detectives with a collection of photos from her phone and social media. Many of these photos were date and time-stamped, clearly depicting her and Ralph wrapping Christmas presents in their living room, just as they had both claimed. The timing of these photos became crucial, especially a set that was captured within a 17-minute time frame between 10:24 p.m. and 10:41 p.m. This happened to be the exact window when the attack occurred. With Francesca and Ralph seemingly eliminated as potential suspects, investigators began asking them more general questions to uncover any additional information they might possess. It didn't take long before the situation took an intriguing turn. When the investigators brought up the couple's falling out with Teresa and Vincent, Ralph and Francesca openly admitted to the ongoing feud. However, they emphasized that the police were missing a significant amount of information. Yes, they had been secretly dating, and yes, that had caused a major source of tension. But according to them, that was only half of the story. The other half, which Vincent had conveniently omitted during his account of events at the hospital, revolved around his fraudulent activities and deceiving investors. The couple claimed that by the time their secret relationship was exposed, tensions were already rising between Ralph and Vincent regarding their business. Ralph stated that it was evident that progress on the dating app had slowed down, and it seemed increasingly unlikely that it would ever be completed. Ralph mentioned his attempts to extract information from Vincent about the situation, but he was never able to obtain satisfactory answers. When questioned about Teresa's involvement, Ralph and Francesca stated that it was quite simple. Teresa had been a strong advocate for the app, which greatly aided Vincent in securing a substantial amount of money from additional investors. However, Ralph expressed his concerns about the funds, including the $130,000 contributed by him and his family, being misused by Teresa and Vincent for their own extravagant expenses. Ralph revealed that he and his family were currently engaged in a legal battle with Teresa and Vincent, having filed a lawsuit against them. He also mentioned that there were other investors who were dissatisfied and seeking the return of their investments, speculating that one of them might have resorted to desperate measures. This revelation opened up a new perspective for the detectives investigating the attack on Teresa Keel. However, the investigation took another unexpected turn. After interviewing Francesca and Ralph and hearing their accusations against Teresa and Vincent, the Long Beach detectives began considering the possibility that the attack could be a form of retaliation related to Vincent's app. Consequently, they compiled a list of all the investors involved in the venture and started meeting with them individually, searching for any signs of suspicious activity. Surprisingly, during these interviews, the investigators did not encounter the same level of hostility described by Ralph and Francesca. In fact, most of the affected investors claimed to have received their money back and did not believe that Teresa and Vincent were misusing funds. None of them seemed to harbor any ill feelings or have any involvement in the crime. Based on this, the authorities decided to expand their investigation. They began looking into recent prison releases and individuals in the vicinity with a questionable criminal history as they started to question their initial assumption that the attack was targeted. However, the investigation yielded no results. Just as authorities were hitting a dead end, they managed to acquire detailed cell phone records linked to Teresa. The information uncovered was quite revealing. It appeared that one of the investors in Vincent's dating app, Ralph Kepler, was furious. Over the past few months, he had been bombarding Teresa with numerous threatening and disturbing messages. These messages varied from texts to photos to emails, all conveying Ralph's animosity towards Teresa and his firm belief that she had embezzled money from him and his family. Subsequently, detectives revisited the surveillance footage collected from the crime scene on the night of the incident. The suspect's imposing muscular build was a striking resemblance to Ralph Kepler. While this made Ralph the primary suspect, investigators were aware that they had a significant amount of groundwork ahead of them to build a case. There were still numerous unanswered questions. For instance, what was Ralph's alibi, and what role, if any, did Francesca play in all of this? Fortunately, the threatening messages uncovered by the police were sufficient to secure additional warrants for cell phone records, this time for Ralph and Francesca's phones. The findings were even more disturbing. Approximately 2 weeks before the incident, Francesca's phone had dialed a 1800 inches number. This number was associated with a company named Spy Tech. Law enforcement contacted the company and inquired about any purchases made around that time. It turned out that Francesca had used her credit card to buy a small global positioning system tracking device towards the end of November. In a stroke of luck, SpyTech was able to provide data from the Global Positioning System tracker. Upon reviewing the information, authorities realized they were onto something significant. The device had primarily traveled between two specific locations, Teresa Keel's apartment and the school where she worked. The police developed a theory that Ralph and Francesca had secretly placed a global positioning system tracker on Teresa's car and had been using it to stalk her in the days leading up to the attack. This theory was strongly supported when they obtained a warrant for Francesca's email account and discovered numerous automated alerts from the global positioning system tracker, indicating that it would notify them whenever Teresa was on the move. Adding to the disturbing nature of the situation, further investigation using geolocation data from Ralph and Francesca's phones revealed a troubling pattern. Every few days, both of their devices would travel to the same location as the global positioning system tracker. Detectives deduced that these were the times when they replaced the batteries in the device to ensure uninterrupted tracking. Over the next few months, authorities continued to gather incriminating evidence against Ralph and Francesca. This evidence included information that began to dismantle their seemingly airtight alibi. It was discovered that shortly after the attack occurred on December 4th, Francesca's phone was used to call the Long Beach taxi cab company. Cell phone data indicated that this call was made from Lynbrook. Detectives concluded that Francesca had made the call on behalf of Ralph, as this was his getaway vehicle and how he managed to escape from the scene. Investigators reached out to the taxi company and, with the help of their records, were able to identify the specific vehicle that had picked up the passenger connected to this call. They also had the opportunity to speak with the driver who had operated the cab that night. During the conversation, the driver immediately recognized the passenger being discussed by the police. She recalled him due to his extremely peculiar behavior. Upon entering the van, the man quickly made his way to the back seat and crouched down, trying to avoid being seen. He requested to be driven to a nearby rail station and paid $20 for a $5 fare. This crucial information enabled detectives to gather additional surveillance footage from both ends of the taxi's route that evening. Upon reviewing the videos, it was evident that the individual being pursued by Franklin at the crime scene was indeed the same person who bore a striking resemblance to Ralph Kepler. Ralph was apprehended on January 24, 2018, just over a year after the assault on Teresa Keel, while he was at work at the Rikers Island Correctional Facility. He was charged with second-degree attempted murder. Despite Ralph's reluctance to cooperate with authorities post-arrest, detectives were able to secure a court-ordered DNA swab from his cheek. The results confirmed a match to the DNA found on the metal dumbbell bar near the crime scene, with the blood on the bar belonging to Teresa. However, the situation was more complex when it came to Francesca. Despite compelling evidence suggesting her involvement, concerns arose regarding the outcome in court, especially with individuals close to her asserting that Ralph manipulated her into participating in the crime due to an abusive relationship and false claims about her family. Ultimately, however, there were two factors that led authorities to proceed with the arrest and charges against Francesca. The first was a warrant that uncovered Francesca's internet search history, which was deeply disturbing. It revealed that she had extensively searched for topics such as the reliability of DNA evidence, methods to commit murder without getting caught, and even the vulnerability of the skull. These searches raised serious concerns. The second factor that propelled investigators to move forward with the case against Francesca was the tragic news of Teresa Keel's passing on November 10, 2018. Teresa had endured nearly 2 years of agonizing suffering in a hospital bed before succumbing to her injuries. This heartbreaking development led to Francesca's arrest and the charge of second-degree murder. Ralph, too, faced upgraded charges. As the trial approached, prosecutors believed they had constructed a compelling case against the couple. They contended that Ralph and Francesca had conspired to kill Teresa in the weeks leading up to the murder. They had obtained a global positioning system device from SpyTech to monitor her movements and had familiarized themselves with her routines. On the night of December 4th, Francesca received an alert that her mother had gone out for dinner, prompting Ralph to go to her apartment and lie in wait. While Ralph carried out the attack, Francesca worked on establishing their alibi. However, the details surrounding this aspect of the case remained speculative, as it was unclear whether the police had found concrete evidence regarding how Francesca manipulated the timestamp photos. Nonetheless, as per a single source, investigators determined that Francesca and Ralph likely captured the photos earlier in the evening, then transmitted them to a burner phone or a cloud-based application, deleting them temporarily from Francesca's phone just before 10:30 p.m. Upon learning that Ralph was going to harm Teresa, Francesca is believed to have retrieved or sent the photos back to her device, which she subsequently shared on social media. The police speculated that at least one burner phone was probably utilized, as it would also clarify how Ralph managed to contact Francesca after the crime. Subsequently, she contacted the Long Beach taxi company and arranged for his escape vehicle. Despite Ralph and Francesca's persistent denial of any wrongdoing and their claims of innocence for months following their arrests, they eventually both agreed to plea bargains. Ralph consented to pleading guilty to second-degree murder, second-degree conspiracy, and fourth-degree criminal possession of a weapon, and in June of 2020, he was sentenced to 22 years to life in prison. It seems that authorities still harbored doubts about securing a murder conviction against Francesca at trial. Hence, they proposed a reduced charge of first-degree manslaughter. She accepted the plea on the condition that she serve a minimum of 13 years in prison. As of the current date, both Francesca Keel and Ralph Kepler remain behind bars. According to prison documents, Ralph will be eligible for parole in 2040 at the age of 50, while Francesca will be eligible in 2029 when she turns 32. This case stands as one of the most heart-wrenching betrayals ever encountered. Teresa Keel dedicated a significant portion of her life to ensuring that her two children would have the best possible future, only to be betrayed in such a devastating manner by one of them. Francesca and Ralph's efforts to shift blame onto Teresa and Vincent add an additional layer of cruelty to this tragic narrative.
What is the address and city of your emergency?
I have to report a murder.
Okay, do you know who was murdered?
Yeah, her name's Tnie.
Tnie Baird, a remarkable young woman hailing from Utah, was known to her friends and family as a delightful individual with an infectious smile and a heart full of warmth. Her strong work ethic and unwavering dedication were evident in everything she pursued. Tnie possessed an optimistic outlook on life and had grand ambitions for her future, already making strides towards achieving great success. Her dream was to become a renowned singer, living a luxurious lifestyle in California. Tragically, Tnie's life was abruptly cut short by someone she trusted implicitly. At the tender age of 17, Tnie encountered a group of individuals at a party who were seeking adventure and liberation. They introduced her to marijuana and drugs, and she found herself embracing this newfound lifestyle. Unfortunately, this decision proved to be the turning point in her life. In June 2010, Tnie and her friends, under the influence of marijuana, embarked on a drive across town. Unbeknownst to them, they carried cannabis, a bong, and other illicit substances in their vehicle. Consequently, when they were pulled over by a police officer, Tnie took full responsibility for the illegal items. As a minor, she would face a less severe penalty compared to her adult companions. Tnie was subsequently arrested for possession of prohibited narcotics and was sent to a 90-day juvenile treatment center. Naturally, she felt apprehensive about being in such an environment, as she was a typical teenager unlike the other residents who displayed more aggression and violence. However, amidst her fears, Tnie unexpectedly formed a bond with Victoria Mendoza, another 17-year-old inmate who had also endured a challenging upbringing. Victoria's parents had immigrated from Mexico, and life had been arduous for her from a young age. She had been to the institution multiple times, and unfortunately, her mother was diagnosed with cancer during her stay, which deeply affected her. She felt frustrated by her inability to be there for her mother, who was fighting for her life. Both Tnie and Victoria longed to escape the institution, which brought them closer together. Victoria helped Tnie survive juvenile detention, while Tnie helped Victoria process her emotions. Their shared love for composing and making music brought them together. They always supported each other unwaveringly. As time went on, their bond grew stronger, and their friendship turned into a romantic relationship. Tnie proudly came out to her mother as gay and was thrilled to introduce Victoria to her. Tnie's mother accepted her daughter's choices and was happy that she had found someone who would protect and care for her. In August 2010, Tnie was released from the institution. She assured Victoria that she would remain faithful and keep in touch regularly, and she stayed true to her word. A month later, Victoria was also discharged, and Tnie couldn't wait to introduce her to her family. They were all eagerly anticipating meeting Victoria. Tnie's family, especially her father, noticed the differences between the two. Tnie was outgoing, talkative, and always ready to help others. She had a lively and flirtatious personality. Victoria, on the other hand, was more introverted, disciplined, and reserved. However, with time, Victoria became more comfortable with Tnie's family. They treated her like their own daughter. Tnie's friends adored Victoria, and she gradually opened up to Tnie's world. Everyone believed that they were perfect for each other and deserved nothing but happiness. Little did they know that things were far from perfect. The initial excitement in their relationship faded over time, and they started to argue and bicker frequently. Victoria's reactions were more apparent, although both of them felt jealous and insecure to some extent. Tnie's connections made Victoria feel envious. Tnie's fear of others influencing her sexual choices was a constant source of tension in her relationship with Victoria. Victoria's response to this fear was to become increasingly possessive and threatened anyone who showed even the slightest interest in Tnie's life. This pessimistic behavior made life difficult for those close to Tnie, as Victoria would jump to conclusions and assume Tnie was having an affair with anyone who commented on her social media photos. Despite Tnie's efforts to explain her views and remain faithful, Victoria firmly believed she was being unfaithful and was eager to retaliate. In a misguided attempt to teach Tnie a lesson, Victoria had an affair with Lacey, Tnie's closest friend. This betrayal devastated Tnie, as she never thought Victoria would stoop to such a level. In response, Tnie ended the relationship, which took Victoria by surprise. Eventually, Victoria realized her mistake and apologized to Tnie, expressing her remorse in a video shared on Facebook.
Okay, so I'm really confused on where to start right now, and I have a lot of things on my mind that I want to say, but I keep going blank because I know that I'm recording myself, and I know that I'm doing, I know that I'm on video and stuff, but I'm going to just start from where I feel like I need to start and end where I need to end. First I want to say is I'm sorry for hurting you and cheating on you with your best friend. And your best friend is a slut, and I don't like her. She's gross, and I can give a fuck less. Alright? So, this video is like an apology to you. And the girl I'm talking about is Tnie. And I'm trying to get her back to be with me so I can keep her again and for her to give me another chance. Because I'm in love with her, and I love her, and I want her back. And I'll do anything I have to do to show her that I can be a better girlfriend. Okay, well, we met in Artec, and I liked you, and I wanted to get to know you and stuff, and one of the letters you wrote me in Artec I read all the time because it meant a lot to me, and it's probably like one of my favorite letters I have from you or whatever, but it says, Victor at the top, and it says, I can't stop thinking about you. I can't stop thinking about you either. I miss you so much. I wish so much that you were getting out earlier for real. I miss you so much now. I don't know how I'm going to be when I can't see you for that long. I like you so much, really. I am usually different when I like someone a lot. I don't want to be with them all the time, and I don't always miss them as much as I miss you. It's different. I'm so happy that I met you for real. I talked to my aunt, and she said right when you get out, we can hang out because I told her you don't do drugs and you want to do good when you get out. Whenever I see you, I just want to jump on you. You make me so happy. I'm not afraid to tell people I like you. It doesn't weird me out at all. My family and some knows already because I always talk about you, so I always think about you. I already really trust you and like I care about you a lot. When they're being assholes to you in Nartec, it fucking makes me pissed. I always say something, man. I'm gonna wait for you, Kay. So don't think I'm gonna be out here fucking a bunch of people. No way, you're the only one I want. And I promise I'm being serious about everything I say, Kay. Really, I want to be your girlfriend too, and I won't ever hurt you, Kay. I can't wait to see you though, and when we can hang out and not here to worry about what we have to say and what we do and write letters anymore, So I have a confession. When you told me to throw away those notes, I only threw one little picture thing, but I kept all the notes you wrote me. Every morning when I wake up and get ready for everyone else, I really don't care what they think and don't listen to what they talk shit, Kay, because they don't know shit about me, saying I don't miss you and stuff. They're just jealous. Like, so many songs remind me of you. It makes me sad. I just want to kidnap you and bring you here. But first we go to your mom so I can meet her and Cindy. And I want you to do good so that you can get out of here and be free and be happy. And I won't get in trouble because I want to be able to see my hoe. I don't even want to be completely discharged at all. I'm going to miss you so much. We're going to be turning heads, baby. I don't want you to think I'll forget about you because there's no way I'm going to forget about you. I'll be waiting for you, and don't forget me. Just look at my picture if you start forgetting. I promise on my mom that I'll be waiting for you, that I won't be fucking anyone, and that you will be mine, Kate. I miss you more than anything, and I always think about you. You're in my every dream I have. Love, Turtle. I'm gonna cry when I leave you. It's sad. See, I like when you wrote me that note, and if you think about it, you really meant that. And just look at all the feelings that and everything we've been through when we first met each other in our program and then when we got out, besides the bullshit that I did and all the little notes that you wrote me and all this shit that you got me, and all that shit means a lot to me, and I don't want to lose you at all. Like, I really, really, really do love you, and I'm really sorry for everything I did, and I'm just wanting to have you back in my arms again and treat you better than I ever treated any other girl before. And sure in the hell don't give a fuck what anyone says about this video. You guys can fuck off and go suck a dick, because I want to be with somebody, and I'm going to do everything in my power to get her back, instead of letting her walk free and letting her go to somebody else. That's not what I want. I want her with me, so I'm going to do everything I have to do in my power. But until then, I'm not single. I'm waiting for somebody, actually. But, see, you made me this letter, and you made me this one. See, look. All of our pictures, because we love each other. And you didn't make that for nothing. Just because you were bored, you made it for a reason. And I want you back a lot, and I miss you a lot. And I just want to ask you if you'll be my girlfriend again. And I love you so much. And you tell me you love me more than the stars times 93. Well, I love you more than the planets and the stars. Around the world, around Mars, around Pluto, back to Mars, back to the Earth, back to the moon, times 195. I love you. So if you'll please be my girlfriend, I'll be really happy. Okay?
Tnie accepted the apology, and the two reconciled. However, unbeknownst to Tnie, Victoria had no intention of keeping her promise. Despite the rocky nature of their relationship, Tnie's family took Victoria in after her mother's death, treating her as one of their own. They provided support, helped her find a job, and showered her with love. However, living together changed the dynamics of Tnie and Victoria's relationship. Spending every minute together proved to be a disastrous decision, as minor disagreements quickly escalated into violent confrontations. Victoria's infatuation with Tnie grew stronger, leading her to become possessive and invasive, even resorting to breaking into Tnie's phone and computer to check her messages. Victoria had an insatiable desire to know and control every aspect of Tnie's life. Despite their close bond, their relationship was dysfunctional and deteriorating with each passing day. Tnie's mother recognized the harmful nature of their situation, but was unsure of how to address it. She hesitated to separate them because of their deep love for each other. Instead, she believed that if Victoria focused on her career, socialized more, and gained life experiences, things would improve. Unfortunately, her hopes were misguided, and their lives remained unchanged. Although Tnie and Victoria had once been on a date, a series of incidents led to frequent fights between them. Victoria's anger escalated to the point where she physically assaulted Tnie, knocking out her tooth. This was just one example of many similar occurrences. It became evident to others that Tnie and Victoria were not compatible, yet no action was taken to resolve the issue. Tnie even confided in her friends about her fear of Victoria and her desire to leave, but she felt trapped. Despite the unrealistic optimism surrounding their relationship, it proved to be detrimental for the 21-year-old. In October 2014, Tnie and Victoria attended a party in Ogden, Utah. Among the attendees was Lacey, the girl Victoria had cheated with, and many of Tnie's acquaintances. Although everything appeared normal, there was an undeniable tension between Lacey, Tnie, and Victoria. Something unsettled Victoria during the gathering, prompting her to retreat to the restroom for an extended period. Lacey suspected that Tnie's joyful laughter had provoked Victoria. Victoria eventually emerged from the restroom and insisted that Tnie leave immediately. Despite Tnie's reluctance as she was enjoying herself, Victoria persisted. Consequently, they left the party. Lacey requested a ride home, and Tnie and Victoria obliged. During their journey, the pair persistently engaged in heated arguments due to multiple factors. Subsequently, the Ogden Police Department received a distress call several hours later.
911, what is the address and city of your emergency?
I have to report a murder.
Okay, do you know who was murdered?
Yeah, her name's Tnie.
Victoria had murdered Tnie.
So I was driving, and then
Victoria said during her interview that she was driving.
and when I was driving, we were still arguing.
She said that she was
She was smacking me, and I was smacking her, and
Victoria said that her only defense to not
I don't know why that stands out so much, but that's when I got really pissed off. She was still smacking me, so then I did draw. I think I'm gonna kill her. I don't know why I drew it.
There's no way you were driving when she was stabbed.
No, I was driving.
Not when she was stabbed. She was in the driver's seat when she was stabbed.
I believe Victoria said she was driving, but that wasn't something that investigators thought was possible.
You know how you mentioned honesty will set you free? You're leaving some things out. How many times do you think you stabbed her?
I'm serious when I say I don't know.
If you had to guess.
Maybe 5.
Do you want me to tell you how many times? 23 times.
Seriously?
That's a lot of rage.
Yeah, that is a lot of rage. She was just smacking me a lot and just firing me up a lot. I never have thought about killing her my whole relationship. I've never thought about hurting her or being weird. I just remember doing it really, 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 really fast.
A lot of force? Were you just going as hard as you could? Do you remember that?
I don't know about as hard as I could, but that's eerie.
Throughout the interview, Victoria was
sitting in the passenger seat when she stabbed Tnie.
The second that I saw that she was when she went like this, I was like, oh my gosh, so I moved her over to the passenger seat.
Did you have to help steer the vehicle over? Did you have to reach over?
Yeah, and I had to help. Yeah. We were driving on the freeway. I want to go turn myself into Ogden, and then that's when I wanted to go. I thought stop by the church. I just thought I'd take her somewhere maybe peaceful. And then before you guys got there, I was just praying with her.
Victoria admitted her guilt and received a prison sentence of 16 years to life imprisonment, with the chance of parole after 24 years.